I've spent the past 5 years running businesses, and the truth is, most people massively overcomplicate it. Like, you're probably spending all of your waking hours listening to YouTube videos, listening to podcasts about businesses, and you just feel overwhelmed. Like, you wake up and you're like, I don't know what to work on, and I feel like the things that I'm doing aren't actually moving the needle. I'm just running in place, and I feel like I'm working, but I'm not actually making progress. And to be frank, most people making business content and podcasts are overcomplicating things on purpose to confuse you so they can sell you things that make you unconfused. Typically, courses, coaching, masterminds, stuff like that. But the point is once you understand the concept I'm gonna break down in this video, you're gonna understand the mechanics of how any business operates. I broke down this exact concept at a business event, and I could just see the shoulders drop in like a out of the people who were earlier in their journey hearing it, because they were so overwhelmed just like you and they didn't know what to do. It was like a weight off their shoulders and a light bulb turning on, being like, oh, it's that simple. And they actually told me to take this concept and turn it into a YouTube video. So here you go. The concept is really ungodly simple. Business is just turning eyeballs into dollars and dollars into smiles. That's it. And the rest of this video is going to be me breaking down that concept in more detail so you can fully digest it. Most people that ask me for business advice that are below like 50 grand a month literally just don't know what they should be spending their time doing. Like, they don't have clarity on how their business actually functions and what really moves the needle. It again goes back to the simple concept of turning eyeballs into dollars and dollars into smiles. People need to know that you exist. That is marketing. That is the eyeballs piece of this puzzle. And if all those people know you exist, but you're not making any money, the problem is turning eyeballs into dollars, which is the sales piece of the business, right? And if you're getting a bunch of eyeballs, you're actually making money, but everyone hates you because your product sucks, then the problem is fixing the product or fixing the service at hand. So if you're unsure of what to do, you need to start with the eyeballs piece. Eyeballs is marketing. If people don't know that you exist, you shouldn't be doing anything else besides making sure that the people that you sell to know that you exist. If you do have people that are your ideal customers that know you exist, but you're not making money, you have a sales problem. You aren't turning the eyeballs that you have into dollars. And this goes across any type of business ever. Like, if you run an agency or literally any type of service to where you're doing labor for people, it's either that they're hopping on sales calls and they're not buying because you need to get better at sales or change your sales process, or they're not even getting on sales calls in the first place, which means you have a problem of getting the people who know you exist onto the actual calls. Even in e-commerce, if you're selling this beautiful coffee mug or this candle here, it's that your website is the problem. If people are visiting your website, but they're not buying on your website, the selling that would happen over the phone in other businesses isn't happening on your page. You need to change your page to get more people that visit to buy, turning the eyeballs into the dollars. If people are visiting and they're not buying, the only problem in your business is changing that piece, and that's the only thing that you should work on. If you have eyeballs, you're turning them into dollars, and you're getting customers, and you're making money, but your clients and customers aren't happy. Your problem is turning the dollars into smiles. And it's because your product or service isn't as good as it should be. And you can't run a great business if everyone hates your product. On one piece of things, they're gonna tell other people not to buy your product, and it's gonna make the eyeballs part even harder. And secondly, and most importantly, it's gonna completely destroy your reputation. And ideally, if you stay to the end of this video, we're gonna talk about how to turn those smiles into more eyeballs and dollars via referrals, which is gonna make your life ungodly easy, and it's gonna make running a business a downhill battle instead of an uphill battle. In my last business, we had 15% of our revenue coming from referrals. It was awesome. You don't have to do anything besides make your customers actually happy and do what you say you do. It's not rocket science. Now that you broadly understand the concept that we're covering in this video, let me go deeper on each piece of the business. So that way you know, once you've identified the problem, how to actually fix it and demystify any of the confusion or complexity in each piece of the business. Let's talk about the first piece, eyeballs. If people don't know that you exist, you don't have a business. Eyeballs are the first domino to get this process up and started. And this is where the confusion and the complexity really kicks in for people. It's like, oh my God, do I post on Twitter? Do I do ads? Do I do affiliates? Do I send cold emails? Do I make YouTube videos? Do I run Google ads? Do I run YouTube ads? Like, oh my God, there's so many different things that we could do. Breathe. There's 4 different ways that you can get customers. You can run ads, you can do content, you can do outbound, or you can get affiliates. That's it. There's variations of different ways that you could do the 4, but those are your options. And depending upon the business, one of these 4 routes makes more sense or doesn't make more sense. And ideally, as you get bigger and bigger, you can do all 4. The question just becomes, where do your customers actually spend time? Most of the businesses that sell to the richest people in the world and the biggest businesses in the world almost always do LinkedIn or cold email, which means they might do a blend of two things. They're probably going to make content on LinkedIn, do outbound on LinkedIn, as in message strangers on LinkedIn DMs, or send cold emails. If I'm trying to sell to Coca-Cola in State Farm, I'm probably not going to run a Facebook ad. They're not going to be hanging out, watching memes on Instagram or Facebook, right? They're probably going to be on LinkedIn, or they're going to be checking their email. If I'm selling to a local coffee shop, I'm probably not going to email them. They probably have 40,000 unread emails and never really check the damn thing. It would probably make sense to either make content or run ads to coffee shops. If I'm doing e-commerce and I'm selling a beautiful little candle like this to moms in the Midwest, I'm probably going to go on like Pinterest and maybe run an ad on Pinterest or make Pinterest content. So you just have to know your customer, figure out where do these people spend time, and then say, okay, I'm going to pick one of these four and I'm going to do it at the place where they spend the time. And what you're not going to do is do a bunch of these all at the same time, because it gets too overwhelming. You're going to do one thing and you're going to keep doing it until it works, and that's it. People are going to say, oh, Meta ads are so much better than Google ads, or YouTube ads are so much better than Meta ads, or posting content on LinkedIn is so much better than posting content on Twitter. Nonsense. All of them work. You just have to decide which one you're going to do and keep doing it until it works. Coffee break. We've covered eyeballs. Let's talk about dollars. This is where I've made most of my money throughout my career, because I started as a sales rep, I got into sales management, and then I ran my last business to where we were training and placing sales reps and putting them inside of people's businesses. I'm great at the dollars part. And attention, without converting that into dollars, is just a stupid popularity contest. It's why you see a lot of these influencers that actually have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, are actually broke because they don't have any way of turning these eyeballs into dollars. You just need a streamlined place to send these people once they know you exist. And anytime you're doing any marketing stuff, you send all of these people back to the exact same place. This is going to be your website. Now, I'm not talking about a website that's your about page that tells you your brand story and a little picture of all your employees. I'm talking about a funnel. A funnel is a type of website that's called a funnel for a reason. You're taking all of the attention, and you're funneling them down to take one action. That action depends on the type of business that you run, but there's only two. You're either gonna have them book a sales call to where you sell them on that call, or you just have them buy right there on the website. Typically, if you're selling something under $1,000, you can probably get away with just selling it on the website. And if it's above that, you probably wanna do it on a sales call. There's some variations in there, so don't crucify me, but that's roughly what you're gonna go for. And this can be ungodly simple. If you looked at the funnel from my last business that made me, keep in mind, a couple $1 million, you would laugh at how simple it was. I've shown my last funnel to some of the people at that event that were asking me for business advice, and they're like, this is it? Like, this is what you did, that's it. It was a white page with one line of text that described the problem that people had, a video describing things, and then a button to book a call. And there was a little bit more to it, but that's basically it. I'm gonna break down the 3 key fundamentals of what your funnel needs to have on it. That first line of text is what's called a headline. If you go to any business's website ever, they have a big old line of text, and it normally describes what they do, the problem they solve, or how they solve it. This needs to be 1 or 2 sentences max. The less words, the better. Below that headline is what's called a video sales letter. Now, a video sales letter is what it sounds like. It's a video basically selling. The goal of this video is describe who the video is for, because you're not gonna sell your product or service to everyone on the planet. There's a specific type of people, so you wanna say, hey, this is who this video is for, and you're probably watching this video because you have these problems and these pain points. And then I have this thing that actually solves those problems, and here's how these problems are solved. And when you talk with people about what you do, they probably have normal questions that come up, and these kind of become recurring questions where different people ask the same questions. You just want to answer those questions in the video after that. So this is who it's for, these are what problems or pain points that you have, this is how my thing solves those problems, here's some frequently asked questions, and then you do what's called a CTA, a call to action, where you tell them to go do something, right? We mentioned this is a funnel. We're funneling them down to take this action. That action is going to be to click the link below, right? So there's going to be a button below the video, and that button is either to get them to buy right then and there on the spot, or to book a sales call. So you're just going to put a little button there, and you're gonna link them to a calendar to book a call or a Stripe link or something to collect the payment. And if you're doing something like e-commerce, you might not have a video sales letter, but you're literally going to do all of that just in written word to answer their questions and pain points and all the stuff that I just mentioned. And obviously you're just gonna have them buy the product right then and there. They're not gonna hop on a sales call to buy a coffee mug. So if you're selling a service or something above like $1,000 or so, you're probably all gonna be having them hop on sales calls. So by making a good funnel, you should fix the problem of turning eyeballs into dollars by getting them on the sales calls. Now it just becomes a game of closing those deals and changing your sales process. And once this funnel is made, you just have to continually adapt and adjust things. Maybe you change the headline a little bit. Maybe you change your video a little bit. You're gonna make some minor adjustments and minor tweaks. You just have to look at the numbers from how many people are seeing your stuff, getting the eyeballs, how many people are hitting that page, and then how many people are actually booking a call, and then how many people are closing. When one of those numbers are low, you know the problem is to make one of these numbers go up. That's it. Never stop looking at these numbers and metrics along their customer journey and keep optimizing and tweaking it so that way a higher percentage of people who have your eyeballs are turning into dollars. And that's actually what my software Conversion IQ does. We basically read all of your sales call data, understand why people aren't buying, and then we tell you how to change what you're saying on the sales calls, and then also what to change in your marketing so that way the right people are getting on the calls with the right idea of what you do, so a higher percentage of those eyeballs turn into dollars. That's everything about the dollars part of this video, aka the sales department of things. Now let's talk about the smiles. Coffee break. Eyeballs into dollars, dollars into smiles. If people aren't happy, they're not gonna stay, they're not gonna keep giving you money, and they're definitely not gonna refer other people to go buy your stuff if they're not happy with their purchase. Smiles is what keeps this whole machine that is a business alive. Most people obsess about turning eyeballs into dollars and then put very little attention into turning those dollars into smiles. They don't put in any time or effort into making their product or service amazing, and it's really foolish. And I actually call this the invisible hand that works against you. Because as you get more customers, if people are mad about their purchase, it's like pushing your business down and you don't even know what's happening. Because when you do marketing stuff and you get more eyeballs, some of those people that see that stuff are gonna be your past customers. And if they say, hey, that actually sucks, like don't buy that, and they go tell their friends not to buy it, as you do more marketing, you're just telling more of the world not to buy your stuff because so many people are shouting not to buy it. So if you get this stuff fixed and then you do marketing and you get more eyeballs, there's gonna be a pool of those people that are your customers that are happy and they say, hey, yeah, you guys should buy this. This stuff is awesome. And it's gonna make your marketing, which is your eyeballs and dollars and the smiles, so much easier. So if you fix this, it makes your life a lot easier. And for one, this should be important to you if you're a half-decent human being. Ultimately, you should not want your customers to absolutely hate you, them telling people not to buy your stuff and ultimately damaging your reputation. When your head hits a pillow at night, you're probably not gonna feel that good about it. The second piece of things is it's literally gonna make you less money. If you don't care about that stuff, you should care about making less money. And there's a portion of people that deprioritize this just because they don't care and they don't have ethics and morals in business. And then, to be frank, there's probably even a bigger majority of people. They obviously want their product or service to be better. They just don't know how to make it better because they don't have a system for it. And I'm gonna basically break that down for you now. What's cool is just how there's a customer journey with a number attached to that whole journey, from people being a total stranger to finding out that you exist, to going to your funnel, to popping on a sales call, to giving you money. There's an exact same line-to-line process of turning dollars into smiles. Like you just have to draw out the process in every single step of the way and then make each step of the way a little bit better. Like in my last business, we were training sales reps and then getting them jobs. So they would pay us, we'd hop on an onboarding call, we'd say, hey, this is what's gonna happen over the next 4 months. Right now, the focus is training you up to understand how things go. Watch these videos, hop on these calls at these times. Once you're done with that, this is the next thing. So we make sure that those calls are good, those videos are good, that keeps people happy. Then we say, hey, okay, it's time to start getting some job opportunities. We're gonna make sure that your skills are ready to actually get on job interviews. We're gonna explain how to do job interviews and how to make those better. They go through that process and then they start hopping up job interviews. We have to make sure that the job interviews are actually lined up for them. We don't do that part, they land the role, then it's like, okay, now you're in a role. Let's help you to make sure you do good in that role. And then we go through that whole journey until they're basically done being a customer, right? So through all of those, if you actually lay out every single little bitty step of that way of your, not necessarily prospect's journey, but your customer's journey, you can keep optimizing things to make little bitty pieces of that process a lot better to where ultimately they become very happy about the purchase that they make. And pro tip here, people judge if their purchase was good or not within 72 hours. So if you can give people a very quick win within the first 3 days after their purchase, they're gonna be really happy about things. And then a part of your business of making your customers happy is gonna be like, hey, if you love our stuff, could you give us a testimonial? Could you give us a positive rating? Could you recommend friends to also purchase this product? That's gonna create this flywheel that turns these smiles back into more eyeballs, back into more dollars, because people that are like, I don't know if I should buy this or not, are gonna see positive reviews, videos of people saying how awesome it is, or getting told by their friends and family and people in their network that you should buy this thing and it's getting recommended, which just lubricates the whole process. Everything else that you've been overthinking about business is a total waste of time. You should just be focusing on how can I get more eyeballs, turn more of those eyeballs into dollars, and more of those dollars into smiles, and more of those smiles back into more eyeballs and more dollars. That's it. Once that process works, it's just like, how do we get more eyeballs, and then how do we get more of these customers to ideally spend more money with us? And how can we make it cheaper to get customers too? That's just gonna make you run a more profitable business. So the next time you're feeling overwhelmed, just ask yourself, does this give me more eyeballs? Does this turn more of those eyeballs into dollars? Or does this turn more dollars into smiles? If it doesn't do that, it's not worth doing. If you guys did get value from this video and you're kind of like, that was relieving, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I make more YouTube videos like this, and my goal is to make things as simple as fucking possible so that you can scale your business and make more money, and ideally use my software in the process of growing your business.